Hi there. Welcome to Have It All. I am your host and the creator, Anna K. Morris, and I'm thrilled that you're here because if you are here, it means that you're interested in having it all, or maybe you're curious about what I and my guests have to say about having it all. Can we? Do we know what it is that we want? And once we get it, are we wise enough to know that we have it? And are we worthy enough to hold on to it? That's what we'll be exploring on the podcast. I'm so happy you're here, and let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Have It All podcast. This is a continuation of my last podcast. I think it was number 19, talking about December 20th and what that date meant to me 12 years ago when I stood in my apartment. That was so perfect. And I actually posted on Facebook, and I did a post about it on social media, on Instagram and Facebook, this perfect apartment. And my mom and I stood in the doorway, and she said, Anna, you got everything you wanted. You wanted this perfect apartment. And I remember so distinctly crying and thinking, no, I didn't move. I didn't leave my life in New York for a perfect apartment. I left to meet the man of my dreams I could laugh and travel with. Didn't say married, said the man of my dreams, laughter and travel, and a dog and a backyard with twinkle lights. In fact, when you start to get really, really clear about what it is that your heart truly desires, not what you think you should do or what it will look like or anything like that. But I have found that when I start to really drop in and get aligned with my true self, with my inner voice, with the divinity within myself, call it God, call it whatever resonates with you. But my inner voice, I would have really vivid dreams. And I had a really vivid dream about this backyard with twinkle lights and a dog and a picnic table and a guy. And I'm going to get to that because this is going to be a multi-series storytelling adventure. And we're fast forwarding now to Christmas night, the first date that I had with my future husband. And I say this because it has come up recently, and if you haven't listened to my podcast before or know much about me, you'll find out this. My best ideas come from when I take long walks with my dogs or napping with my 2.5-year-old. And I was just actually napping with him and got this hit of inspiration to come and do this podcast now. It's actually Christmas Eve that I'm shooting it because I know how Christmas will be with two young boys. I have a 5 and a 2.5-year-old, but I recently had a client say to me that she wasn't ready. And that's fine. There are all kinds of things that we desire in our lives and we are not ready for them, right? If it were to fall in your lap, you would not even notice it perhaps because you weren't ready for it. And that brings me to December 25th, 12 years ago. My first date with Derek, my husband, if you don't know. The backstory is that Derek and I have maybe not toddler pictures, but 3, 4, or 5-year-old pictures together. We have known each other our whole entire lives. And Derek, every single Christmas for about 10 years prior to this December 25th, 2012 date that I'm speaking of, had asked me out. And that's important because I was not ready, right? I was nowhere near a place where I could be in the kind of relationship that was going to be my relationship with Derek for a couple of reasons. The first one was that I really didn't think I was worth it. I didn't actually think it existed. I was incredibly, I'm using air quotes if you're not watching the video, but I was quote unquote realistic. Others would say jaded. I would say jaded. I would say pessimistic, and I would say downright not hopeful, right? Because I really felt like I had to have seen the kind of relationship that I wanted in order to have it, which is really, it's not true. That's not true at all. However, I also wasn't looking far enough out. I was only looking at my immediate family. And in my family, my parents had split up when I was 22 years old, and my aunt and my uncle. So 3 out of 4 kind of pillars of my life had gone through a divorce in 1 year. Not to mention it was also 9/11. So it's like a lot in 1 year. And so I really decided that relationships weren't that great, and I didn't even want one, right? So there's Derek asking me out every single Christmas. It would go something like this. He would Facebook message me, because I don't think we had each other's numbers, and he would say, hey, maybe I'll see you around. This was his version of asking me out. Also not very clear. We're going to get him on the next episode to talk about what this was all like on his end, because, it's always a different story. But what was really interesting for me looking back is that not only was I not feeling worthy of that kind of love. If you listen to the last episode, you would have heard that, like, I also realized through working with a life coach that I had cheated in every relationship, right? And I don't want to say that I'm proud of that or not proud of that. I don't really have a feeling about that, except that it's what it was, right? Like, I got cheated on in my first ever high school, like, grown up, again, air quotes, kind of relationship. And then I started a pattern that I didn't even know that I had. And I could justify all of it. And I could tell you, like, why it was okay, or it was the end anyway, or blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is that because of this first hurt, I then became the person who was going to hurt my partner first, right? As a way to, like, protect myself and also keep this self-fulfilling prophecy of, see, that's how guys are, or I knew it, right? Like, it all smacks of, it's not possible anyway, so what's the difference, right? So men for a long time to me were very disposable and not really worth my time, but I guess kind of useless. And here comes Derek. And he had been going through some stuff personally at the exact time that I was going through some stuff. And I say all of this because for that entire year, not just that year, the 2 or 3 years before that, I had been cleaning up my life. I had ended relationships that were no longer serving me and not, engaging with people, or specifically in romantic relationships that I knew weren't fulfilling to me and what I eventually wanted. And I worked very closely with several coaches, not just one, lots, group coaching programs, yoga, like all the different things, to get myself into my own alignment, to really know my true voice. And it was through all of that work that then, when Derek asked me out, and our first date was Christmas night at 9 p.m. at night, and that none of that makes any sense. I'm going to tell you more about that in the next podcast. All the stars had to line up for that. It was only at that moment that I could have said yes, and I could have been ready for what was about to happen, because it was the night that changed my whole entire life. And I have everything right now because of all that I had been doing to prepare myself, right? So if you are feeling like you're not ready for something, you're probably right. You're probably right. And my next question would be, as your coach, do you want to get ready? Do you want to get ready? And for me, I knew in my heart that I wanted to live my life with somebody. There's this really great quote from, it's a Susan Sarandon, Richard Gere, Shall We Dance was the name of the movie. Oh, with Jennifer Lopez. If you haven't seen it, it's great. I don't remember. It's old. But there's this scene where Susan Sarandon has hired a private detective and he's like really like creepy and hitting on her, but whatever, that's not the point. And she gives this description of marriage as like, as describing that you will witness their life. And I knew, and I remember even seeing that movie before meeting Derek. I knew I wanted to walk through my life with somebody. I knew how to do it alone. Like I was so good at being alone. And I knew I wanted the experience of doing my life alongside somebody. So that was really important to me. And so I started doing all of these things to be ready for opportunity. So what is it that they say? They say that luck is when opportunity meets preparedness. So as we are celebrating December 25th, if you do, or just the holiday season in general and closing out the year, I ask you, what is it that you are desiring? What is it that you're looking to call in, for this new year? And do you want to get ready for it? Like, what are you going to do to get ready for it? Okay? Because I'm really clear that for 10 years, I could have been with my husband for 10 years, maybe even sooner than that. He had had a thing for me since high school. So, I mean, I can remember seeing him at a party and thinking like, who's that creepy guy staring at me? Like he had a crush on me that early on. However, he wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. We both had to get prepared, right? And we even had to get prepared even more so once we actually got together. That's for another, that's going to be the next episode when I have Derek come on. But anyway, I love you. Happy, happy, happy holidays. Thank you for listening. I'm so grateful that you're here, that we get to be here together. And I really want you to think like, are you ready? And do you want to get ready? And just know that if you don't right now, like when I was talking to my client, I was like, it's okay that you're not ready. And we oftentimes are never ready, but you can be prepared. Do you want to get prepared? Do you want to do the things to move in the direction of something that you desire? And only you know that answer. And just know that there's no right or wrong or perfect way to do it. There's your way to do it. And when you can drop into how you want to feel and have the way that you feel in your body guide your life, it makes things really easy, like really, really, really easy. So speaking of, I have a Love Yourself Summit that I'll be making live on December 28th. And it is exactly the work that I was doing in order to get ready for the love of my life. I'm going to have 12 amazing guest speakers. We're going to do it over 3 days. And the third day is going to be a VIP vision board workshop to call in the love of your life. So whether you are looking to create a new love in 2025 or looking to have deeper intimacy in an existing relationship, and you want some live coaching around that and a workshop and a vision board, you're going to want to join for that. So stay tuned on my website, annakmorris.com, for information on that. And that will go live December 28th. And it will be January 14th, 15th, and 16th. Thank you. I love you. Have the best holiday ever. Bye. Thank you so much for being here. It is an honor and a privilege to have this conversation with you. As we expand in the world, what is it that we want? Do we believe that we can have it all? I hope this episode gave you some insights and some things to think about, and most importantly, some actions to go and take in your own life. If one of those actions is reaching out to me, I'm so thrilled and honored. You can always find me on my website, annakmorris.com, and you can always send me an email, hello@annakmorris.com. DM, texting, if you have my number, any of that is great too, and I would love to be in touch with you and help you have it all. I love you, and thank you so much for being here.